So then fast forward to 2016 when I'm 220 pounds and, I'm rolling places, not walking places. I was like, I'm going to go back to triathlon because I enjoyed that. So I called my buddy Brent, who's a great guy. And he's a pretty avid athlete. And I'm like, hey, Brent, I want to do this Dewey Beach Triathlon. I did it in 2006 and 2007, and I want to get back in. He's like, in. So I had the accountability from him, and it just it snowballed. I have a good group of buddies that, I've consistently been running, cycling. I don't swim all that much because I don't really like, it's so boring being in a pool and just lap after lap. But, I've gone all the way up to 2 Ironman distance races. So I kind of went from fat, overweight guy who couldn't do much of anything. And I've learned that don't set limitations on yourself because you're the limiter.
Welcome to YMI Talking, a podcast where the guests are so good, you'll wonder why the host is even talking. In each episode, you will hear one of the leaders of the Lehigh Valley's vibrant business hub. They will tell you the keys to their success, the mistakes they've made, and what they have in store for the future. Here is the host of YMI Talking, from YMI Insurance, Jimmy Honachik.
All right, that is me, Jimmy Honachik. We are here with another episode of Why Am I Talking? And I am joined by, I hope you're watching the video right now, the lovely Miss Avery Pennell. Thank you. How are you?
I'm about to cry. How are you?
Why? Tell the people why you're about to cry.
Take a good look at this face, audience. Because it won't be around much longer. Cue tears.
Cue tears. This is your last episode with us.
It is.
It's been great having you on the podcast.
It's been great being here. Not just on the podcast, but off the podcast.
I guess it's your last day with us, period.
Point blank.
Yeah.
You fired me. He did, and I quit. Don't worry.
You're going to be a teacher.
I am.
Despite me trying to talk you out of it.
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Yes.
And you're going to be awesome at it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. We're going to miss you a lot here.
I'm going to miss you guys,
Yeah.
but you're right around the corner, so I will be here every time you have pizza Fridays.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome.
I will be taking that chicken bacon
One
ranch.
slice.
3 minimum.
You've truly though you've been great to have here, and so we are going to miss
Jimmy.
you. Thank you.
I'm gonna miss you guys genuinely. I'm not gonna say anything more because I will cry. I will cry.
But we are not going to be without a marketing coordinator.
No.
We have someone waiting in the wings, figuratively and literally.
Noel!
Noel!
I'm here. Throw those headphones on, girl.
Set myself up. Hello.
Hello. I know. Are you excited?
This is my debut.
Yeah, it is.
So
How are you
excited.
feeling?
I'm feeling awesome. I'm feeling a little sweaty. My hands are sweating.
I said we should definitely just hire Noel and me, and we can be a marketing team here.
I'll take that back to the management team.
Okay,
I'll keep you posted.
Are you not the management team?
Listen, Noel.
I think this could be your decision.
She's starting off sassing me right off.
I taught her well.
Yes, you did. No, we are very excited to have you, Noel. I think this handoff has been seamless and is going to be really, really good.
No, I'm super excited. Avery has been super helpful.
Good.
So I'm really happy about that.
Aww.
But if not, I have your number. I'll just text you.
I'm around.
I know you're teaching, but can you tell me how to do this?
Yeah, girl, I got you. Yeah. She's been wonderful.
She has been.
She's been very quick with it, too. I was
Yeah.
impressed with how quickly she picks things up. I was like, okay. It only took me like
took
3
me-
weeks to figure that out. No, it's fine. I know what CapCut is.
TikTok teaches me everything.
There you go. There you go.
Good. I'm going to try to do a really bad transition to our guest today.
Oh!
We have an awesome guest. This episode is really good. Spencer Davis.
Yes.
Yes.
Love
Did
him.
you forget who our guest was?
No.
Okay.
No, I would never. We've recorded so many.
We have. We've been busy.
We have been, which is a good thing.
But this one, I say it in the podcast and I really mean it. Like Spencer Davis is someone that I look up to as a person.
He's a great guy.
I look up to him too now.
Yeah.
Actually, like I
So
love
sweet.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's awesome.
It's just impressive everything he does. He
Mhm.
kind of puts all of him into all of it. And so it was a great episode.
It was.
Inspiration.
I can't
Yeah.
wait to visit his coffee machine at his establishment.
Yes, we should go visit his office because he does have great
I
coffee.
will be there for that content.
Good.
I better get the invite.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in. Spencer Davis from the Spencer Davis Mortgage Group. This episode's awesome, and we'll see you next time.
Woo! Bye, guys.
Bye, Avery.
Bye.
All right. We are here with an episode I have been waiting for a very long time. When I started in the business, I reached out to Ty Tasaw. He is a real estate agent in the area. And I said, I need a list of the best mortgage brokers in the area. And right away, he listed this guy. Spencer Davis is a force in the area. He is a family man. He is a mortgage man. He is just an all around great human being. And I'm so glad to have him here. So Spencer from the Davis Mortgage Group, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's dive in. I mean, like I said, Ty went to you right away. How long have you been doing mortgage here, and what do you love about it?
Yeah, so I started doing mortgages in the Lehigh Valley 2006. So it's been we're coming up on, I guess, just over 19 years now. I just love the interaction with people, right? Like, it's just great being able to interact with the buyers, and we're impacting their financial lives, right? Like, most people, home is their biggest asset, the best net wealth piece that they have. And yeah, sometimes it's not that much fun, but for the most part, it's pretty good.
What attracted you to it? Was it your first career?
No. So I have a sport management degree from York College of Pennsylvania. I thought I was going to be Jerry Maguire. When I was in high school, I loved reading like law books and I loved sports. And then Jerry Maguire came out and I'm like, that's me. I'm going to be a sports agent. And I actually did a internship with a big athlete rep firm down in just outside DC in Northern Virginia when I was a senior in college. And I realized at that point, like, these agents, they travel all the time. They're gone all the time. I would never see the agents. And we had some big athletes like Jerry Stackhouse and Michael Vick was like just coming out of college back then.
I'm a Falcons fan.
Yeah.
So,
So it was really cool, but I saw the agent that worked with those guys who's never around.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wanted to have a family. So I ended up kind of getting into college athletics for a couple years. I worked at a school in Maryland. Then I worked at a school in Louisiana in their athletic facilities department, and really enjoyed that, but met my wife during that time period, came back here, actually worked in the facilities department at Brookside Country Club on the golf course.
get out.
And kind of fell backwards in the mortgage industry. There's very few people. I think if you polled everyone in mortgage in the Valley, all the different mortgage people, and said, like, how'd you get in this business? Mm-hmm. I don't know that anyone would be like, oh yeah, I was coming out of college and I knew I was going into the mortgage business. Like, it's kind of a hidden little gem of an industry that a lot of people don't know about, and most people fall backwards into it. So.
Yeah. And so how did you get started? So you fell into it. What did you start doing?
Yeah. So my wife was a nanny at the time. And I think we were married at that point, but we were very, very newly married, and she nannied for a family in Hellertown. And we would go to like barbecues at their house and stuff because she was like a second mom to the kids. Right. Yeah. So, the neighbors 2 doors up would always come down for the barbecues because they were really good friends with, the family that my wife worked for. And that neighbor, the husband, he managed a mortgage company here in Bethlehem. His name was Tom Taylor, really good guy. Like, if you look at sports, there's like coaching trees where like, this coach like had all these assistants and there's like these big trees. Yeah. And Tom Taylor, he passed away a couple of years ago, to early onset Alzheimer's, but, he brought me into the industry. He basically said, hey, I think after meeting me a couple of times, I think you'd be good at this. Yeah. You should come in and talk to me. And I'm like, I'm working at a golf course making like $18 an hour. Like, why not give it a try? Which is funny because at that time when I started, we had just gotten married within the past 12 months. We just found out, like 3 months into being married, my wife was pregnant.
We have a similar story.
And that wasn't our plan. I had like a 5-year plan, but God had different plans. And And then I'm like, yeah, I'll try this like crazy commission only industry. That seems like and we bought a new house at the same time. So God. I did like all the things you're not supposed to do all at the same time.
Was that an extra motivator though at that point? Like you're like, I gotta make the sales.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. But to be honest with you, like the income that I was replacing from golf course, like as a, assistant, I wasn't even an assistant manager, like lower level than that.
Assistant
like was
to the manager.
Yeah, exactly. To the traveling secretary. Yes. It wasn't significant. So I was definitely motivated. But yeah, I mean, all of my motivation in life is to provide for my family, right? If I won the Powerball tomorrow, probably wouldn't walk back into a mortgage company ever again.
Right.
But yeah, so, and I enjoy it too, for the most part. Like if I got to do something, I might as well go do mortgages. So.
Absolutely. But you've been successful, right? It's not like it was something that you fell into and have kind of just made a path. You've really blazed a path. Like you've really been sort of a trailblazer in the area. So, I mean, what about you or about, the Davis Mortgage Group has led to that success?
So I think some of it is always hard work, right? Like I think you can be better than a lot of your competitors if you just roll your sleeves up and like
your sleeves are rolled up currently. So
it was really hard for me to roll them up too. I think if you just do what you say you're going to do and you work hard, like in a lot of industries, you may be better than 75% of your competition. So I think a lot of it was that, like, and I had a couple situations where like, I think I just ended up with the right opportunity. Like I started in 2006. In 2008, I moved to a Wells Fargo owned company that was a joint venture with a good sized real estate group here in the Lehigh Valley. And it gave me exposure to real estate agents in 5 different offices. And I still think I look pretty young now at 45, but when I was like,
we're going to talk about that. When I was secrets for that.
When I was 28, I looked like I was 19. So like, I felt like no real estate agents are going to listen to me. I look like I just, graduated high school last month. But like when I went to that group, I had this exposure to agents that they kind of had to listen to me because I got to speak in front of their sales meetings. And I think they got to realize like, this guy's pretty sharp. Like he does know what he's talking about. And I got opportunities and I absolutely worked really hard to make sure I made the most out of those opportunities. And I just believe you treat people the right way, and you do it for a long period of time and you work hard. Like it's hard for that not to be a good recipe for success.
Yeah. And the Valley is such an interesting place. You're going to run into those people again and again.
For sure.
Talk to me about the relationships that you've built in the Valley and just your relationship to the Lehigh Valley in general.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a lifelong resident of the Lehigh Valley, but really primarily the Emmaus East Penn School District. And even if you want to get even more granular, Zionsville, like Upper Milford Township. Grew up in Upper Milford Township, lived there in Zionsville pretty much my whole life growing up. Graduated from Emmaus in 97. I did do some stints, a year in Baltimore in college athletics and then a year in Louisiana, that was an interesting experience. But came back home and, I slummed it for a little while and lived in Emmaus and Macungie. But then we came back to the homeland of Upper Milford Township in Zionsville. And I love the area. Growing up, I never thought like, I'm staying here my whole life. It was more like, you realize as you get older, like a lot of people do, that this is actually like a pretty good place to raise a family. And I love being out in the country. We have a couple acres where we live. And yes, it's a great existence for me and my family.
I was going to ask, what is it about that area? But I mean, I ride bikes and I'll go in that area and it is beautiful. It's, you can be close to Allentown or Bethlehem, but it feels removed in some sort of way. Yeah.
I mean, for me to get to my office in Emmaus, 5 miles, 10 minutes max. And just to get into, the west side of Allentown is maybe 15. So I think we're pretty close to everything, but a lot of country feel to it, which I enjoy. I like being out and outdoors and,
So I just humble brag that I ride my bike sometime.
Yeah.
Let's turn it over to you to get like a full on brag. Like What do you do athletically? Like, you have the background in athletics, but I know you and I have met and you've always blown me away with sort of what you do. Let people know, whether it's running, biking, what you've done.
Yeah. So as a kid, I grew up playing, soccer, baseball, primarily, team sports. And I did not run. I hated it, actually. I rode a bike in the neighborhood, right, with my friends, but like, I didn't ride a bike for fitness. And I played a little basketball too. But then, so I get into marry my wife. We started having kids. We have a lot of kids. So every time she gains like whatever baby weight, I decide to like put on the same amount of baby weight. And like, I look at myself in 2016 and I'm like, I literally, there's one picture, it's like burned in my head. I'm like, I look at a picture, I was like 220 pounds. I'm like, wow, man, I'm fat. Like, I look terrible in this picture. Like, it was really like discouraging. And I decided at that moment, like, okay, I'm going to do something about this. I had done short distance, sprint distance triathlon in like 2006 and 2007, I think, just with a buddy. Like, it was kind of on a whim thing. And I didn't really train that hard for it. I trained enough to do the races, but, and it was fun. And I enjoyed like the, multi-sport aspect of it, but I didn't go anywhere with it or take it all that seriously. So then fast forward to 2016 when I'm 220 pounds and, I'm rolling places, not walking places. I was like, I'm going to go back to triathlon because I enjoyed that. So I called my buddy Brent, who's a great guy. And he's a pretty avid athlete. And I'm like, hey, Brent, I want to do this Dewey Beach Triathlon. I did it in 2006 and 2007, and I want to get back in. He's like, in. So I had the accountability from him, and it just it snowballed. I have a good group of buddies that, ever since I've consistently been running, cycling. I don't swim all that much because I don't really like, it's so boring being in a pool, just lap after lap. But, I've gone all the way up to 2 Ironman distance races. So I kind of like went from fat, overweight guy who couldn't do much of anything. And I've learned that don't set limitations on yourself because you're the limiter. Like, your body's not the limiter. So it's been a fun journey. I've actually scaled back a little bit on it now, where I've decided
just doing regular marathons.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm training for right now. I'm doing a marathon mid-March. So now I have podcast accountability for making sure I have a decent marathon time. But the Ironman, I decided I'm not going to do Ironman races for a little while because I have a lot of kids, and Ironman requires so much training time that there'll be lots of weekends where I'm gone for like the whole half of Saturday because I have to do a 6-hour or 5-hour bike ride. Yeah. And I'll probably do it again later, but
that's where I was going to go next. Is you said you are your own limiter. Sleep is my limiter. I need sleep. I need 8 hours. Do you sleep at all, Spencer?
Yeah. I think you just have to go to bed earlier, right? But the reality is if you get up at 5, like Tuesday, Thursday, I pretty much always run with buddies at the Parkway at 6 a.m. So any listener you want a group to run with, 6 a.m. Parkway, jump in. Yeah. So those mornings I get up at like 5. And then I usually ride the bike on Monday, Wednesday in the basement. But I'll get up at 6 and, go mosey on down there. And then weekends we usually run like at 6:30. So yeah, I usually get I wear my Garmin to bed all the time. Yeah. So I'm trying to track my sleep, and I try to get between 7 and 8 hours. And that just means that we put our girls to bed at like 8 and we usually go to our room, and I'm trying to be asleep by 10 usually. Wow. So my boys are usually awake like much later, like God knows how late my teenage boys stay up, but
my oldest is 10 and I have said goodnight to her because I'm going to bed. I'm like, I need my sleep. Yeah. So I get it. But you got so much, right? You've got the mortgage group that you're running. You've got, let's talk about the family next. You've got 6 kids. Walk us through, how you make the time for them and how you focus on them, because I know from our conversations, you are a family man. So how do you find the time and what do you do to make that work?
Yeah. Well, the first is I want to stay fit, but I do that at times that are inconvenient for me, but make life more convenient for my family, right? I'm not going to wait till the evening to go for a run and miss a kid's sports game or something, right? Like, so yeah, I try to get the training fitness out of the way early in the morning. I'm lucky in that my job, although it does have some demands, is pretty flexible too. And yeah, I try to work my schedule. I'll protect certain times. Like if I know kids, especially in baseball season is the big one, spring and fall, we have, our boys all play baseball or all have played baseball. My oldest is he's kind of retired at this point because he's in college, but, like I'll defend if I know when they have practice and I'm helping coach the team, I'm defending those evenings on my schedule, just like it's, any other appointment. And, sometimes that means if I'm coaching and I have to leave the office at 4:30 to get somewhere, that means I may be logging back on when we get home at 8:30 and doing an hour or two at work, to get done what I missed. But there's always enough time, right? I mean, there really is. Like, I think you create the right structures and the right processes to help you. And I have a great team, right? And that at my office, if I didn't have them, I would have to work too much. And then I probably wouldn't be able to do as much with my family. But yeah, I just try to defend the time and, make sure I can be where is important for me. I heard, I feel like I'm talking the whole time and you don't get to talk at all.
It's called YMI talking because I shouldn't be. You should be talking.
I heard a cool quote on another podcast. I think it was on Nick Bear and like somebody, I think his tattoo artist he was interviewing or something. But the quote was basically like, make sure you set goals worth achieving. And it was like going into 2025, they were talking about goal setting and like that really, I already kind of felt that way, but it was like a great, like one sentence to help illustrate how I feel, because we can all set all kinds of crazy business goals. But if it's at the expense of my family, that's not a goal I want to achieve, right? There may be some goals from a business perspective or a professional perspective I don't want to achieve because I'm not willing to make the sacrifice required to my wife or my kids, or my faith to achieve those goals. So I thought that was a really cool, profound quote, like about goals worth achieving.
I feel like this whole episode is just a therapy session for me where I'm listening and taking in everything you're saying. Yeah. But to that point, what goals have you laid out for yourself this year?
So there's obviously some from a professional perspective. Some of those are like numbers related and your audience probably doesn't want to hear about boring mortgage number. We want to do, we do want to, there is a certain number of families we want to help, that would be the one number that's actually like qualified. Like we really want to help 1,000 families this year. As far as like the numeric goals outside of that, like dollar volume and who cares about that. But, and then personally, I want to continue to coach my kids. And from an athletic perspective, I'm going to do this marathon. I signed up for a 50K at the encouragement of my one buddy, Brent, that I mentioned. So that's in May, and that'll be the longest pure run that I've done. That's
more than a 5K, right?
A little bit.
I've done some 5Ks.
Yeah, I think it's like just a little bit farther.
10 times more.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And then a half Ironman late in the year.
So, really?
Yeah.
So you haven't fully given up on Ironman?
No, just the full distance is crazy amount of training time.
So 1,000 families is what we're aiming for. Is that new loans or is that servicing them? Like, how do you think of that?
Yeah, that would be like that we close that many loans like within the team. And my team is really, I have some people that are on my team, here in the Lehigh Valley. We have a couple of people out in Lancaster as well. One in Schuylkill County, and one in Lebanon County. So like cumulatively our whole team, I would love us to reach that. So.
And how is the mortgage industry right now or the real estate market? I know we were having a tough time with high rates. Has that eased up at all?
Not really. Rates, like high watermark was kind of close to 8%. Right now we're hovering around 7% on the averages. I think the bigger challenge still from a real estate perspective is inventory. There's still just not enough houses available. Like that's problem 1A, and problem 1B is affordability. And,
Right.
you know, and the problem is problem 1A with the inventory, because there's so much demand for housing and the supply is low, it's driving the prices up.
Yeah.
And then when you pair that with high mortgage rates, the affordability is not nice for, especially first time home buyers. Like if you don't have a house to sell with a whole bunch of equity that you can roll into the new one, it's rough.
And even if you do, like my wife and I, we say we're never going to move because our interest rate is like 2.75%.
Yep.
And the appreciation in houses since then, it's impossible to do anything.
Yeah. I don't think I would buy my own house right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like at current price and current rates, I don't think I would want to afford my own house. So, I mean, I get it. But the reality is people have life changes and like, there's still plenty of people buying real estate. It's still real estate historically has always been a great investment. Mm-hmm. And you got to live somewhere, right? What are you going to pay rent? Like rent's no cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's the market still is competitive from a buyer perspective and from a lender, real estate agent perspective. And most people predict that 2025 will be a little bit better year than 2024.
Yeah.
So, and if we could see rates, like I feel like that I don't have any, this is all anecdotal. I don't have any data to support this, but I feel like just seeing a rate that starts with a 5 could really have a psychological impact on some people that have been sitting on the sidelines. I think it'll have a financial impact too, because you take a rate down 1.25% from where we are now. And obviously the payments, everything looks a lot better. But I think just something psychological, seeing it start with a 5, I think will make people feel a lot better than 6 or 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So.
No, as we're talking, I have to assume, are you a handy person? Like, do you do the work around the house?
No, not really.
Okay. All right.
I mean, so this
I felt showed up everywhere.
No,
I was
definitely.
sure you're going to show me up.
No, there's a painter at my house right now and a guy that was popping molding off this morning because we're redoing like one room in our basement. Okay. But me and my boys did rip the carpet out ourselves this past weekend. So, you know, we saved $117 by ripping the carpeting out ourselves.
That's
so.
funny.
And that made me feel slightly like I'm more of a man.
Yes. Yeah. We redid our kitchen and it had white carpet in our kitchen.
Carpet.
Carpet.
Nice. They nailed it on that one, huh?
3 little kids, white carpet. What could go wrong? So we were going to redo it. I did the pulling up of the carpet. My wife laid all of the flooring. She's the man of the house, without a doubt.
And what what kind of flooring did your wife put down? Like plank flooring? Or?
You're
like, I don't know. I walked on it.
I supported her. I gave her high fives and I don't know.
Did she put nice like heating coils in?
No, we didn't get that fit.
My toes are so toasty.
That'll be our next upgrade.
Was it oak? Was it pine?
Yeah.
Like
you guys are asking too many questions.
We're gonna have to get her in on that.
So I have to ask, like, you've got the team. What do you think about, in terms of running a team? How do you think about yourself as a leader, and just how do you approach the team in general?
I look at it more like I feel like it's a like lame buzz term, but like servant leadership is like really like I just want to walk alongside my team, help them. Everyone on the team has their own role and is super important. I think that gets missed in a lot of organizations. Sometimes people will act like, oh, the receptionist isn't that important, or the processor on a mortgage team isn't that important, or everyone has like their unique role that they have to play. And their role is super important to us providing a great experience for a customer.
Yeah.
And that includes like when someone walks into our office in Emmaus, like the person smiling at them, right? Yeah. And saying good morning or good afternoon. Can I get you a cup of coffee? Like,
and you guys have great coffee there.
We do have amazing coffee. Yes. Yes. The Jura machine, you cannot beat it. So a lot of the team, like I treat it as a family. A lot of us have been together for a really long time. We know each other's spouses. We know each other's kids. Everyone is super important to what we do and our success level. And yeah, I think my team would say like Spencer legitimately cares about us. Yeah. Wants to see us succeed and tries to do everything that that he can to help us in that. So,
And I think you might have just given us a hint at the answer, but what makes you guys different than your competitors? What makes you guys, kind of stand on a different level, let's say?
yeah, I think it's the give a crap. Like, I think everyone on the team legitimately cares.
Yeah.
And that is not the case. I've worked, at some really big banks. I've worked at some smaller lenders, and, a little bit in between. And that is not always the case where everyone on the team actually really cares about the customer and providing a good product. And I think that's absolutely the difference, the people, right?
Yeah.
And
Can I tell you a story?
sure.
So Friday, I am working with a client of ours. They're buying a new house and they have a mortgage broker, and I can tell that the mortgage info on there is not correct. So I'm like, let's get your mortgage broker on the phone. We get him on the phone. And before that, the client goes, hey, he's a great guy. You're going to love him. He's on top of everything. I was like, awesome. This is great. They're not always that way. I'm really happy. I get him on the phone. He goes, what do you want? I'm like, oh, and then he continues to just yell at the client on the phone. And I'm like, this is not good customer service. And so from what I'm hearing from you, you guys take a little different approach than that.
Yeah, we try not to yell at our customers. That's a good starting point.
Yeah.
We same thing with the customers. Like, we very much, the mortgage process can be really tedious, right? And it's boring and it's annoying. Like, we ask for a lot of paperwork, and we very much want to be guides. So like, we want to, our clients have a starting point and then a destination they want to get to. We want to walk them all the way down that path. And sometimes at the beginning, that's me walking with them, right? When I'm initially starting a pre-approval and doing an initial application. And then there's a handoff to Holly, who's my assistant, and she like walks with them a little bit down the path.
Yeah.
And then there's Nikki, who's our processor, and she walks with them pretty much the rest of the way down the path. And, our handoffs are strong. We never leave the client alone. Like, we don't want them to have to figure something out for themselves. We want them to ask lots of questions if they have them, and we want to be very quick with our responses. And, we do surveys of all our past customers, and I think we're winning in that. Like, we don't always get it perfect, but I think we get it right a lot. And most of it is just the whole team cares.
Yeah. All right. We are running low on time, and I know that I have two questions that I want to ask you that have come up as we're talking. The first is, as you're explaining sort of, your approach and the hand-holding, the advice, and how boring the work is, I can't help but think about us in insurance. It's very similar stories. We have a lot of trouble recruiting talent. Is this something that you guys face too? Like, getting people interested in what you do? I don't know. I'm curious if that's something you guys face.
Yeah, I think there's two aspects to that. One is the mortgage business doesn't have a great program to bring people into the business, especially in an environment right now where business is kind of down. Mm-hmm. And we, the industry is just small. It's hard to bring somebody new in because it's a commission only industry traditionally. And like, I'm happy to help train someone, but like, they still need to bring some revenue in for them to get a paycheck. So that's been a challenge. It's a little easier in times when like the market's more robust, or there's a little bit more refi business, like, to bring people in. And, the second part of recruiting is like mortgage companies, everyone's trying to steal from everyone else,
right.
Like that's a big piece. And I certainly, am recruiting seasoned originators. But I try to only bring in people that are a good fit for our team. Yep. We kind of have a no a-hole rule, where we don't need to bring people in that
we have that rule, and then Avery started here.
Jeez. So it's challenging to bring people into the industry, just, for both of those, especially on the first one where it's somebody completely green.
Yeah. Then the other question I wanted to ask was, you mentioned you started, I think, around 2006, and my head immediately went to 2008.
Oh yeah.
You've seen some real crashes and some real hard points, I'm sure. Describe what it was like in those moments in 3 words, because we're running out of time.
Oh, geez, this is a tough one.
I'll give you
in just the
5 words if it helps.
So chaos.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Unsure, and go huge. Like,
what does go huge mean?
So in 2006, I get in the business.
Yeah.
I only know so much by 2007 when like the walls start crumbling in
Right.
all around me. And, it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, did I make a huge mistake? And that's the chaos part. And then, just confusion of like, I'm unsure what's going to happen. And then ultimately it's just like, screw it, go big, let's figure it out, So
I love that.
just totally dive in. And yeah, that was a really interesting time. It's very dissimilar to now based on the real estate market, but from a mortgage perspective, like back then there was a glut of people that came into mortgage,
Yeah.
and then tons got out of the business because it was so slow. And then the strong survived and then really thrived like for the next decade. And we're kind of in a little bit of that again. Like the numbers of licensed loan originators has gone down a ton over the past like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of in like the ones that survived are going to thrive probably and then for the next 5 to 10 years.
Interesting.
So it's kind of, we're in a exciting part right now of where I think things are starting to turn.
Yeah.
Or they're going to turn soon.
Yeah. You hear that with realtors and then we'll move on. But like 20% of, there's so many people with their license, but it's really 20% of them that are really out there doing most of the volume.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We are sponsored by Hocus Pocus Cleaning Services. I don't know if you've used them or if you've heard of them. They are incredible. They will come to your house. They'll do a magic witching hour where they come in, they'll reorganize a closet, they'll do whatever. It is truly magical. And we always give them a shout out. And part of this is asking you if you could have any magical ability. What would it be?
So I don't know if this, like, well, you gave me like about 17 minutes to come up with this.
That's how I roll.
So, and then I didn't think about it for 15 of those minutes. But I don't know if this falls into a magical category, but I think if I could do one thing magical, I would be able to time travel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because my dad passed away a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I would love to just be able to go back and spend time with him.
Yeah.
Just one day or something like that. So that would be my thing. I'd love to time travel.
That was the realest answer we've gotten here. So thank you for saying that. That's really great. Anything we didn't hit that we should have hit? Anything you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, I mean, I think, I guess maybe your audience is a lot of the business community, and maybe there's some younger entrepreneurs. And I think that the biggest thing I've been telling, like I have a couple younger guys that I manage, is just one, like hustle and activity leads, as long as you do it the right way, in an honest way, really will lead to success. It's not a magic formula, including like my boys, right? Or they're teenagers. Oh, look at these people on YouTube, and they're like YouTube or social media sensations. It's like those people, like, just like you, like we've been in here for 45 minutes, but like you guys have this whole studio set up. Somebody's going to edit this video. Like there's a lot that goes into all of this stuff, and it's hard work. So like the Jake Pauls, I don't even really know who he is besides he fought Tyson, right? But like, I'm sure that dude spends a ton of time on content, right? Yeah. So even these people that it's like, oh no, they just got rich quick. No, they actually probably are putting a lot of effort in, behind the scenes. So I think just treating people the right way, working hard, hustling, and keeping, the priorities straight is the secret to not just life success, but satisfaction, fulfillment.
Like I said before, this was a counseling session for me. I truly think of you as someone, like, I mean this genuinely, I aspire to be like, whether it is professionally, whether it's family, whether it's your faith, you have your priorities right. You think about them correct. And so I just appreciate spending the time with you. Thank you for coming on, Spencer.
Yeah.
This is great.
Appreciate you having me. And I'll probably like pull out in front of someone, and then they'll honk at me, and I'll make some bad gesture, and then the world will be right that like I'm not this perfect person. I get a lot. I think I get a decent amount right, but certainly don't walk on water. So, but I appreciate you pumping me up. So.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, Spencer.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the YMI Talking Podcast. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more content from amazing personalities in the Valley, please subscribe, leave a rating, and drop us a quick review.